The Whispering Lighthouse. The village of Ravenspire sat on the edge of the wild northern sea, where waves crashed against jagged cliffs and mist rolled in like a ghostly tide. On the highest point of the cliff stood an ancient lighthouse, its light flickering even on the darkest nights. The villagers believed it was haunted, for sometimes in the dead of night whispers could be heard coming from within. Young Elias had always been fascinated by the lighthouse. His grandfather, old Marlowe, had once been its keeper, but after his mysterious disappearance 5 years ago, the villagers had sealed it shut, leaving it to decay. No one dared step inside, fearing the spirit said to haunt it, but Elias was not afraid. One stormy night, unable to resist his curiosity, he decided to uncover the mystery. Armed with a lantern and his grandfather's old key, he climbed the slippery path to the lighthouse. Thunder rumbled in the distance as he pushed open the heavy wooden door. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of salt and oil lingered. The spiral staircase loomed ahead, winding up into darkness. As Elias climbed, the whispers began, soft, eerie murmurs carried by the wind. "Who's there?" He called out, his voice steady despite the shiver down his spine. No answer. Only the howling wind and the rhythmic crash of waves below. At the top, he found the lantern room, its great glass panes cracked but still standing. The lighthouse's beacon, once strong, was now a mere flicker. Elias ran his fingers over the rusted control panel when suddenly, a voice, clear as day, spoke behind him. "You've come at last." Elias spun around. Before him stood a figure, his grandfather. But Marlowe looked unchanged, as if he had not aged a day. "Grandfather?" Elias whispered, stepping closer. Marlowe smiled, though his eyes held sorrow. "I was trapped here, Elias. Between the sea and the storm, between time itself." Elias frowned. "How? We searched for you." Marlowe sighed, looking toward the horizon. "That night I discovered the truth about this lighthouse. It is no ordinary beacon, it is a gateway, guiding lost souls to where they belong. But something went wrong and I was caught between worlds." Elias's heart pounded. "How can I help?" Marlowe placed a hand on his shoulder. "You must restore the light. Only then can I be free." Determined, Elias rushed to the old control panel. With trembling hands, he adjusted the levers, fed oil into the system, and struck a match. The flame caught, flickering, then roaring to life. The lighthouse pulsed with energy, its beams slicing through the night. Marlowe smiled, a look of peace washing over him. "Thank you, my boy." His form began to fade. "No. Wait." Elias reached out, but his grandfather's image dissolved into the light. The whispers ceased. The lighthouse stood silent once more. When Elias returned to the village at dawn, the lighthouse was no longer in decay. Its walls gleamed, its glass unbroken. And though his grandfather was gone, Elias knew he had finally found peace. From that day forward, Elias took up the mantle as the new lighthouse keeper, ensuring that the beacon never faded again. And on stormy nights, when the wind howled and the sea raged, he sometimes heard a familiar whisper in the wind, one that made him smile.